My name is Neve Alger and I play Dana. Dana is a part of this cash truck crew. She works at Fortico, this place. And she's part of this family of kind of misfit guards who, they're quick talking. They're quite, it's quite a masculine energy in this place. And Dana seems to be able to hold her own. She's got this kind of tough exterior, but inside she is quite fragile and damaged, but makes up for it by her exterior. I think for Dana, she's always been a woman in a man's world. She's strong-willed and she's quick, and she can give back just as well as she takes, Guy orchestrates this black box, which is basically more like an animated table read. Everyone's up on their feet. It's a great introduction to meet everyone and to meet the director and see how he works, and that's the way in which Guy works. He's very quick-paced. There's a pacing to his direction, and I think the black box is an incredible insight into how he's going to work with you on the day. He changes a lot of the dialogue on the spot because he can hear it, and he's a man of instincts. He goes with his instincts, and if he hears it and it doesn't sound right, he immediately has another line that you can substitute in. And a lot of the time, it's the right thing. But he doesn't hold actors back. You get to play around, and that's what he creates. It's very fast paced. Everyone is very much on it, and I love it. When I think of Guy Ritchie's films, I think of pacing. It's quick, it's sharp. The dialogue is always sharp. It's tight. He doesn't sit in scenes too long for them to get heavy, but they always have. There's a poignancy and there's a drama in them, but he doesn't milk it. You move on, so that by the time something has landed with you, you're immediately into something else. And I think that's really telling of him and his way of filmmaking. I think for Dana, when H first comes into the crew, it's like almost a new little toy to play with. He's fresh in, he's fresh out of water. She sees this English lad and is quite taken by him at first. So yeah, I think she quite liked him. She quite liked this H character, and is quite intrigued to find out a bit more about him because he is quite mysterious and guarded. Like a lot of the characters in it, they are quite guarded, and she kind of develops this relationship with him that becomes quite romantic, slightly romantic, and from there, finds out a lot more about himself that she wished she hadn't.
I'm Scott Eastwood, and I play Jan. Jan is dangerous. Very dangerous. My first impressions of him was he was a hothead. He was very unpredictable, and that I really liked. I was really drawn to that. Sort of like an exciting character who's kind of a live wire. The interesting thing about Guy Ritchie's films is he loves to explore these criminal underworld, but all the characters have their own flaws, their own issues. They're all going through something, and that's what makes his films, I think, really interesting, because you relate to a lot of the characters, even if they're a criminal or somebody that might have done terrible things that you can't relate to. You can relate to parts of them. I wanted Jan to be flashy, to be very into his appearance, into his looks, into stuff, into things. He likes jewelry. He likes he just likes nice things. He's also we also decided, Guy wanted to kind of rough me up a little bit. So we decided to do a prosthetic scar and a contact lens that's specifically made and painted. So they measured my eye. You go in and get a contact lens, and then they send it away to an artist, and that artist creates sort of a milky eye, and then I wear one eye for the entire film. That's been its own fun challenges. It's an action movie, fighting good guys, fighting bad guys. So the stunt stuff's always been. I'm a pretty active guy, so that stuff's I think really fun for me. Highlight of my career working with Guy Ritchie. He's just like a no bullshit director. He's not. There's really no other way to say it. He's not a very Hollywood director, which I really appreciate and like. He's just a guy who gets it done and goes out there and does it and shoots it in the simplest way possible, but also a really interesting way. And I really like working for him. What makes Guy Ritchie films interesting is that there's a lot of gray area. There's a lot of gray area. You can something the bad guys are bad, the good guys are bad. It makes the films interesting because it's not things aren't black and white. And in classic Guy Ritchie fashion, there's going to be some people who are going to die, and it's going to be a fun ride. You hear that? That's what it's like to be on the set of a Guy Ritchie film.
I'm Eddie Marson and I play Terry. Terry runs the cash truck depot. At the start of the story, there's been a recent robbery where one of his drivers has been killed. So he has a heightened sense of security and fear about losing another one of his drivers. And he has a kind of, Jason's character, H, comes into the depot and at first seems very efficient and very calm, but Terry's very aware of the fact that there's something not quite right. This is my fourth film with Guy, I believe. Yes, it is my fourth film. It's always the same. He knows exactly what he wants. He knows exactly how to do it. He's a very, very visceral filmmaker. He's very creative on his feet. And you can almost feel it being made and the creative decisions being made on set. Some films, the creative decision is made in the editing suite. So you do multiple takes, multiple coverage, and they go in and decide what film they're going to make. Guy doesn't do that. Guy, in a sense, is similar to Mike Leigh in that they decide to make the film with the camera. They make that decision on the day rather than in the editing suite. I enjoy it more. It's more creative. You feel more of you have more of a dance with the camera because the camera is very flexible and moves around you. Sometimes if you're just punching in and doing coverage, it's a very, very predictable process. But dramatically, if you feel a camera move with you or you're doing something because you can feel the dramatic effect it will have on the film there and then, which is much more enjoyable for me. There's a preconceived idea about Guy that he has, that you can kind of analyze and predict a Guy Ritchie movie, and I think he's a lot more diverse than people give him credit for. So, I mean, I did The Gentleman last year, and this doesn't feel anything like The Gentleman. So, honestly, I think the only reason it's a Guy Ritchie film is because he's directing it, but that doesn't mean it will be the same as any other Guy Ritchie film.